Hello and welcome back to
Beyond the Surface
with Robbie.
and Angelo.
This is going to be our fourth official episode, which is very exciting. We're almost at 5, and I guess let's get started.
It's kind of crazy that this is our fourth episode.
Why do you say
I
that?
don't know. It just doesn't seem like it.
It feels like I've done a million.
I feels like I've done 2. 'Cause
Really?
I feel like the first 2 are kind of.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
No,
bad, but they were just like
sorry, I
our.
almost went. I don't. I agree with what you mean, but it also feels like based on how things are progressing, it feels like we've done more.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
also
mean?
true.
Like I don't feel I don't feel the gut wrenching feeling that
Yeah,
I did 3 weeks ago or whatever.
getting a lot more comfortable in front of the camera and just
Yeah,
being here.
and you know what I noticed is the camera kind of looks like an eye. Like if
Yeah,
you really look at the sensor on
yeah,
the inside, it looks like an eye.
yeah. Well, that's kind of what it's mimicking, you know?
Oh,
Like
sure, like the way
cameras.
our eyes work,
Yeah.
that's how it works.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, a little bit of anatomy to start the day.
There you go.
So today I actually had a very specific question for Angelo to get started on. I was laying in my bed and I was thinking like, do you think you have more active faith or more passive faith?
In what sense?
Active meaning like God can only work through your actions,
Mm.
therefore I must go do. Passive meaning there's nothing I can do, therefore I must wait. So it's like the difference between patience, right? Like having the virtue of patience and the virtue of like courage, like being not scared to be like, I'm gonna do this crazy thing because I think it's what God wants me to do.
I feel like I definitely have a mix of both.
Mhm.
I would say more active faith than passive,
Mhm.
but I feel like you need both in the sense that like I was actually talking about this on one of my videos that like for these videos you need to be active. You need to kind of do it. You can't just lie around and be like, God's gonna make me YouTube famous. I'm just gonna sit in bed and it'll happen kind of thing. It's like, no, you need to do it. You need to get up and you need to film. You need to get in front of that camera and get comfortable just talking to the camera,
Mhm.
right? And have faith that God will work within that and provide you with the subscribers or whatever, that one viewer that watches the whole video, right?
Yeah.
Um, but then you also need the passive faith of waiting and posting the video and just letting it be instead of like going crazy or posting like every day kind of thing, because you need that, like, just like anything, you need to take a break off of it, right? So if you're like posting every day all day and you're going crazy,
Why is nobody watching?
right? Exactly, you just keep posting, no one's watching, and then that's like too much active. It's like, God, I'm being active, but you're not
It's
doing
almost like
anything.
impatience.
Yeah.
And it's almost impatience and why? Because I had that. I was looking at our the channel in YouTube Studio, which like lets you see how many views there are.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even like I knew that there wasn't going to be a change in views, not because I don't have faith in it. It was I had checked like 2 hours before, and I was like at school. I was like I saw it go up one. I was like, oh my goodness, right? It went from like 20. No, it went up 3. It went from 25 to 28. I was like, oh my goodness. And but I realized like I just the more I relax, the better. If I check back and there's been 20 views more, it would be so much greater than checking all the time.
Yeah, I have the same problem right now, but I'm also, it's kind of like being faithful that God will provide with time. Anything that happens quickly usually crumbles quickly.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep telling myself that this will happen with its time.
Yeah.
I don't want
It's
it
only
to
been
2 weeks ish.
Yeah, literally. What
Yeah.
is it, the 15th? It's
Yeah.
been exactly 2 weeks. So
yeah, I don't want it to like, I don't want to blow up and then all of a sudden don't know how to handle everything kind of thing and then just crumble in a sense.
I read a statistic that said 90% of the content on YouTube is produced by 10% of channels. like not
Crazy.
just 10% of the entire group
Yeah.
of YouTube, like all the different everybody who has an account, but 10% of channels who are actually posting stuff, right? And it kind of puts it in perspective that if we are making something of value, and even if the bit of value is like 25 seconds of this video or 10 minutes of the video, where somebody finds that interesting, it's going to play a part in that 90% of content. And hopefully somebody watches it, right? Because that's not the whole point. I was talking about that in my introduction video, which I had to delete because it's so echoey, but I'm going to fix it. But I was talking about how like, I don't necessarily not want people to watch.
Yeah.
It's that I can't care about it. It's
Yeah.
not that I don't care, it's that I can't care. Because if you start to care about who's watching, how they're watching, if they're watching 45 seconds versus an hour, it the person who watches an hour might have forgot that the browser tab was open versus the person who watched 45 seconds. It was like, I'm going to go running. I love it. Like, and start off some massive passion or habit for them that's going to change their life.
That's so true. I was actually watching a YouTuber. She's a power lifter, and she was kind of going through her daily routine. I was mid workout, just resting, so I like opened up YouTube and I was watching her video, and within the 2 minutes of her video, not even her first like 2 minutes, inspired me to like keep going because like I was just tired and I didn't really want to work out that day, and I was kind of just done and sore, but I was like, I gotta just keep going. And I opened up her video, and she literally said like she was tired and how she's just feeling very just down at the moment, but it's her choice to work out or not. And within those 2 minutes, it fired me up. I closed the video and just went to work out. So you never know. That could
Mm-hmm.
happen with our videos, and it's not about how long they watch, but
Like what they're watching,
what they're
what they're
watching.
watching
And
inside of that video.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, I agree. Because, and it also comes to inspiration because I was looking at a guy named Floberg on YouTube. He does like running, but he's also, um, I think he does commercials as well. Like that's his real job. Like he's in advertising. Um, and like watching his videos, I was like, oh my goodness, when I can get back to running, I know how I'm going to do my videos,
mm,
right? Like take the time, take the nice shots, put it together at the end, and have it be a project. Like each video, not all of them, but each of my running videos be at least something that's worth watching uh, for somebody out there. And I think that's brings me to a second point, being
mm,
like when you're YouTubing or anything, you're advertising yourself,
yeah,
right? Like uh, Mercedes Benz isn't trying to like make you remember the name Mercedes Benz. Everybody knows Mercedes Benz are luxury cars. They're trying to like show you what they have and
mm,
then have you remember like when you think of a nice car for you to think of Mercedes. And so for this, it's like you want people to remember um, you and like you having blank thing to offer,
yeah,
right? Even though I might have a running channel, maybe people don't come to me for running, right? They come to me for like inspiration or ideas or faith-based talks or whatever, right? So I think it's important to advertise yourself well, but also not be like, hey, it's me, and try to be hyper aggressive with your
yeah,
advertising.
yeah. Well, I feel like even like the biggest companies don't even advertise. Like I've never seen a Starbucks advertisement, right?
That's so
Like
true.
Tesla doesn't advertise anything, but you know their name kind of
Yeah,
thing. I barely see Mercedes like
yeah.
advertisements, right? It's like you kind of
I
just
never even thought about Starbucks like that, or
uh,
what's the second thing?
Tesla.
Tesla.
Yeah,
I never seen a Tesla commercial.
yeah, because they're not out there. They
They're off. Like they've advertised so well. Like they're so associated with a certain idea.
yeah,
Like you think good coffee, you think Starbucks,
think of
or you think
Starbucks.
like fancy drinks, you think
Yeah,
Starbucks. You think electric cars, you think Tesla.
Tesla.
You think fancy cars, you think Mercedes or BMW or whatever.
Yeah. So
So
it's
true.
it's kind of you don't want to push it out there. You kind of just make it
let it
happen.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like through that, you are advertising
Yeah.
and being honest. Like if you're honest in your videos and saying, okay, this is who I am, this is what I am, people will then just know what you are. You don't have to be like every time explaining, explaining, explaining.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Um, I had a really good topic, and it's
escaping you? Is it escaping
like
you?
slowly, but it's about hope.
Yeah.
I was talking about it in the video I made today about kind of like I feel like this world has lost hope and faith in a sense.
Hmm.
I was talking about how I have hope and faith that this will work out and God will provide what I need when I need it, kind of thing. But it's also very easy to get a 9 to 5 job and have that comfort of I'm getting the money and I'm getting the benefits and I know 9 to 5 I'm working, so I'm gonna be paid the 40 hours a week and that's it.
Hmm.
But for this, like
It's like you don't know
you don't
because
know
people might just stop
anything.
watching.
Yeah. Like you just need that faith and that hope that God will provide
Hmm.
and everything will work out, kind of thing. But if you look around the world, like everyone's just trying to get into a comfortable
Yeah.
kind of state
And
and
that always makes me sad. Like, and this is not like a personal, because like I was there at that like at points in my life where I'm
yeah,
like, I just want to work a regular job, do regular things, and do do what like people expect at school. When you say to people, so I'm in police foundations. When you say like, why do you want to be a cop, and they're like, it's so rare to get a high paying job with great benefits that you can't really get fired from unless you do something terrible, and they don't lay you off, and you're in a union. I'm like, that's like not the reason to become a cop. You know what I
no,
mean? And it's
as
not maybe like they didn't tell me the whole story because I don't want to make a false judgment on people.
yeah,
Um, maybe they're not telling me the whole story. Maybe they have some great experience with police officers, et cetera, et cetera. But if that is the reason you want to be a cop, do not become a cop because
no,
when some guy you go to a scene and some guy's chopped in half or God knows what, but when you see something terrible, right? Being a business manager or something would have been the better job if that's what you wanted, if you just wanted a regular job. Um, and that again goes back to this where like I know that I would be fulfilled, at least partially fulfilled by a regular job, but by this, having the ability to help people who might be struggling or develop somebody's athleticism or develop their faith with like alongside them is ultimately so much more valuable than
so
any job
yeah,
because um, I forget the verse and I really wish I would remember it, but there's this verse in I think Corinthians 1 Corinthians, I forget where, but Saint Paul is talking about the idea of making your money off of the gospel, right?
mm,
And like, if you profess the gospel, if you say the good news, if you do the good things, you should be able to make money off of it. And then he goes on to say, but I'm not. Like, he himself is not taking that right for a variety of reasons. But I want to use that. Like, I want to use that right to say, you know, I don't want to work a regular job, not because I'm lazy, not because I don't believe that people should work those jobs, but because I believe that God has called me to a higher um, well, I wouldn't even say it's higher. It's just a different form of work. Like, uh, I guess like it's not physical work. It's higher in the sense that it's spiritual work, but it's still ultimately work.
it still works.
Yeah,
I would say that
it's harder.
this is so much harder
But
than getting that 9 to 5 job,
but
but in its own sense,
yeah,
I
because
would say.
I don't want it to seem like I'm saying because I used to want to be a plumber before I wanted to become a cop, and there is no harder work. Well, maybe like doing some like there's very very few jobs that are harder than a trades job. There are very few jobs harder than being a lawyer or in business. You know what I mean? Like these jobs tax the body, they tax the mind. Um, but I'm willing to be taxed. Um, in those same ways by being a runner and spreading the good news. Because when I think about myself in those jobs, I just don't like see it happening. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it doesn't mean that it won't happen or might have to do those things. But if you could choose anything, if you could dream big, you gotta dream big.
Dream big.
I was in an Uber with a guy because I've been Ubering a lot because of my foot. Um, and we were talking, and the conversation progresses. It was like a 30-minute drive about. Ask him how he is, ask about his life a little bit, how long he's been Ubering, and I said to him, I was like, Mohammed, what's the dream, right?
Mm.
And he uh, he basically said he wants to like have a good career, right? Like have enough money for his family and do stuff like that. And in his position, like it was admirable that he's putting himself back through school, doing all these things. And I was like, that's awesome, right? Like I like congratulated him. Like I was like, that's amazing. And then he asked me, what's my dream?
Yeah.
And then the first thing out of my mouth was, I want to be a cop, but like I have a real dream.
Yeah.
And then this is my dream. And he's like, just chase your dreams. If you really believe it, just do it. I was like, Muhammad, I love you. I didn't say that, but I wanted to say that.
Should have said it.
I know,
Yeah.
literally. He so we keep talking, and he said that so he's religious. He was a devout Muslim, and he's like God doesn't have. There's no accident, right?
Mm.
Things don't happen. Like, he doesn't believe in coincidences. He doesn't believe in luck. He believes that God is moving. And you're like even when bad things happen, like my broken foot, they're happening for a reason.
Yeah.
Because I would never sit down and do this if my foot wasn't broken.
Mm.
You
So
know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like you see it as bad in the moment until the future, and then you're like, oh, now I can see the good in it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just how you have to live the life.
Yeah.
I don't think accidents happen because I feel like if you believe accidents are a thing, then like you can't believe that
God.
God is a thing, kind of thing. I don't know. I feel
Because
like
if God has like almost like written your plan in like a storybook, right?
yeah,
That's right, his plan in a storybook, and that story is your life. Then it's not like there's a third party like who's like erasing things and trying to change your life. And there is a third party, like there is ultimate evil in this world. But if you believe that God is good enough, then ultimate evil has no ability over to change God's plan
yeah,
as long as you don't give into it.
very true.
So in my communications class, we are talking about how to build a growth mindset. And I think I have a growth mindset. Like I do believe that skills and abilities can change over time with hard work. But for the people in the class that didn't have one, she was trying to explain like how do you get one, right?
Mm.
And there's a list of 5 things. The one that most impressed on me was the ability to congratulate others. Is like one of the keys to success for having a growth mindset. And I was thinking about at the marathon when I'm done and I'm walking around and you still see people finishing,
Mm.
right? And the people behind me weren't slow or anything, but then an hour goes by and you start to get people who are, like
Walking
not
through.
walk. I wouldn't even say they're walking. They were like jogging in.
Yeah,
They were struggling, right? And they were athletic people with the ability to like congratulate somebody who's doing the same thing as you.
yeah,
You're not in competition. You don't hate that person. You love that person. And the ability to humble yourself and be like, I'm not the best yet, but there's people who are trying to reach where I'm at.
mm. So true. Yeah,
And that was like that is crazy. Like it because I never thought about it like that. Like I naturally would congratulate people, but
yeah,
I didn't know it was like a good
it's a good
yeah,
thing. Yeah,
So it just it was just nice to hear, I guess, that it's a good way to maintain your growth.
yeah. I actually congratulated a guy yesterday. So I was at Planet Fitness,
Mm-hmm.
and it was someone that used to work there. Then he got fired, or he quit. I don't know. A lot of things happened at that place. But then he came back to work out, and he was a bit chubbier, and he was always telling me, "Oh, I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna stick to it. This is the year." And then like he never would. until he did. And yesterday I saw him, and he's like a lot leaner, and he's like ripped. And I saw him, and I was like shocked. I almost didn't even recognize him, and
Mhm.
I went up to him like, "Buddy, you look
Good stuff.
amazing. Good job. You actually stuck to it, and that's amazing. Like, good work." And just like the smile on his face, and just to see that, because I know he looked up to me when I was at Planet
Mhm.
Fitness, and like I know it always feels good from when I was like the chubbier kid and then leaned out, and then the guys I looked up to would come up to me like,
Good stuff.
"Good stuff. Like you stuck to it, right?"
Yeah.
It like made my day, and I wanted to make sure that I congratulated
But
him
also
in a
making
sense.
his day probably made your day.
It made my day. Seeing that smile on his face
It's all worth it.
was worth it. Like I was just like, because I was like, I'm always nervous. I don't know, to go up and congratulate people and be like,
'Cause you
"Good
don't know where their
job."
head's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like didn't at first, but then I saw him at the front desk, and I went up to him and I congratulated him because I wanted to.
Mhm.
It took a lot of my nerves, but I did it, and the smile on his face was worth it in the end.
I'll tell you. So, in fitness class, I don't have to do any of the running, but I've decided that I'm going to do all like the push-ups and sit-ups and the squats. The wall sits. I just do with one leg. Um, so, but then there's a few other things that we've been doing. There's a kid in my class who's never done a push-up in his life.
Oh wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's from Punjab in India,
Mm.
and I think like he obviously has exercised before, but he's never done that specific movement,
Yeah.
and he couldn't do a push-up like at all, right?
Mm.
Like it was so he would push his hands up and then lift his stomach, push his
Yeah.
hands up, lift his stomach, and so I said, I literally like got that same sort of feeling, like he, not that he looks up to me, but he sees that I can do these
Mhm.
push-ups, and this sense of like, okay, I'm not gonna embarrass him by saying, oh, you can't do a push-up, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I said, try to do one, and then I pushed his gut, like I
Mm.
lifted his stomach up,
Yeah.
and then I let him go down, pushed it up, and so like he saw what he was supposed to be doing, and I just said to him, if you give it enough time, just do like some of these in your room at night, because I don't think like he's not like he's an international student.
Yeah.
Do a few of these at night, and same with we're doing they're like partial crunches. You have to
Okay.
do 70 of them to pass, 70 of them for a perfect score, and I think he did maybe 20. I was like, if you just keep doing this, you will get better.
Yeah.
You will develop yourself.
Yeah.
And so I just kept saying, you got it, you got it, you got it. And eventually, it's not like all of a sudden he was better, but I saw like he was looking at me in the eyes. I was like, just give it time. And it's like an uplifting feeling to like help people.
Yeah.
And I know that's so obvious because we help people in our daily lives all the time. Like small things, big things, medium things. But when you have the confidence to not ask, do you need help? But just do it.
Yeah.
Just like, why do I have to ask? Well, I know it's the right thing to do. I'm not scared.
Yeah.
I'm just not confident enough that that the person will not just get angry or something.
Yeah. I actually, that's funny you say that because yesterday I was at work, and we have to do the sandbag hip thrust,
Mm,
right? And the other coach is like tossing on extra sandbags to everyone,
mhm,
right? But I like asked them for some reason,
mhm,
even though I know that they should be doing more, and
mhm.
like I'm there to push them. I go up to them, I'm like, you want more weight? They're like, no. I'm just like,
You just
okay.
gotta do it.
But like then I just see her, the other coach, and she's just tossing them on. She doesn't even ask. She doesn't care. She just tosses them on, and they don't get upset, but they get like better
Benefits.
results,
Yeah.
right? So it's that confidence of they won't get upset at you, and they'll actually benefit from
Appreciate
it.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the thing with my broken foot. The people who ask, I
Yeah.
always say no.
No. Yeah.
I'm like hopping up because for some reason the elevators at Durham College don't work. Like in this one wing, like they work like
Yeah.
in other parts, but the one in the L wing where two of my classes are, it's not that they don't work, but like you get in on the top floor and you click one, doors close, and you hear like woo, 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 and then nothing happens. Okay, and I start panicking. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm stuck in here.
Yeah.
I don't know, like there must be an error. It took 3 to 5 minutes for me to get out. Like, when it came I felt it go down, it went down super slow, and then they opened eventually, but I was, like, panicking. I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna miss my class," because I was stuck in an elevator. So I've been hopping up the stairs, and one, one guy, never met this guy in my life, he just, like, grabs my bag from me, and
Mm,
he's like, "Just like, I got it," and he
mm,
walked it up to the top, um, and then like, I said, "Thanks," but he didn't ex you could tell he was, like, already on his way.
yeah,
He's like, he just gave me the bag, and he just started leaving, and I was like, "That's, like, how you help people," just do it, don't expect anything,
yeah.
but when somebody helps you, especially when you need it, it's an amazing feeling.
It's an amazing feeling. Yeah, that's like you kind of just got to do it because when you know it's the right thing,
To do it.
you just got to do it because nothing bad is gonna happen, like realistically, from a good deed. Uh, but like if you have bad intentions,
Yeah,
don't
or
do
you
it. Right?
do not, or even if you have bad intentions, you're probably not in the right headspace to be helping people.
Yeah,
You're, like, truly helping people.
but
You know what I mean? If you give, like, it's almost like praying in front of people, right?
mm,
Or, like, you're, like, trying to, like, seem super holy instead of just being
oh,
holy.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And obviously, there's a place to pray in front of other people. Like, you're at church and somebody wants you to pray for them, or whatever. But I mean, like, doing super the verses, like, where you do what you've done in secret, um, for others. My Father will, like, see it or something. I forget exactly, but it's something along those lines of when you do something good, it doesn't always have to be in secret. You shouldn't try to be in front of other people, trying to show people, "Oh my goodness, how good I
yeah,
am." And also going above and beyond. Like, yeah, it's nice to give a homeless guy $10, and oh, here you go, so you can get some food, or buying them food. Um, but I noticed that, like, I we spoke about this, I think, before. Um, but, like, talking to them like
mm,
people,
yeah.
instead of, like, some sort of, like, third category of human being. There's, like, male, female, and then
Homeless
then you got all those people.
people,
No, it's or treating them like aliens.
aliens.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's
like they're people at the end of the day,
yeah,
and we don't know their situation.
you have no idea. But when you do ask, right, or not, hey, what's happened to you, but like, how's your day?
Yeah,
Like, and then um, I don't want to, like, tell, like, a personal story of, like, exactly what happened, but I didn't have a lot of money on me, and
mm,
so I went to the store, and I got um, 2 granola bars. And I said, I don't know how long you've been out here, but I hope these get you through the day, right? And there was, like, this, like, long pause, and then I forget exactly what he said, but I was like, God bless, and I was, like, almost, like, scared of doing the right thing,
yeah.
and then I walked away. But I remember thinking, like, I should have said more, you know? So,
I don't think that's
yeah.
enough said at the end of the
Yeah,
day. Like,
true, true, true. Yeah.
um, but yeah, it's difficult to. I don't know. I feel like in this world, it's difficult to do the right thing. There's so many people doing the wrong thing, and
But
I was gonna make a point of you should do the right thing, even if there's no one watching, before you do it like with everyone watching. Because if you're doing it with everyone watching, most likely you're doing it because everyone's watching.
yeah,
But if you can do it when no one's watching, that's when you know that
it's easier to do it when no one's watching, in my opinion.
that's fair.
Sorry, I keep pulling the mic so far away. It's easier, in my opinion, to do it when no one's watching, because there's not this, like, for me, I feel like there's a little bit of pressure to, like, the example of the homeless person, like, I don't, it's almost like there should be no fear, but there is fear of seeming weird, or why is that guy talking to that guy, or whatever. But should be confident enough to be like, I don't care
Yeah,
what people think.
yeah,
What is God thinking of me in this moment?
yeah,
And look at, like God look at me, not people look at me. Like, look at me. I am a changed person. I am going to help this person, and I pray that this small deed leads to something greater for them.
yeah,
Right? You never know. If you say to a homeless person, "I'll pray for you," you have maybe they've never heard that in their life,
yeah.
right? So
Not even just giving them granola bar because you don't know when their last meal was, their
yes,
last like
And that also brings the question, like, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't give homeless people money because they're just gonna, smoke it or whatever,
Yeah.
or drink it." Which there's a point to that, but at the same time, we shouldn't judge others,
No.
right? Like, how do I know that he's not going to give this $20 to his kid, right? Or some, you know what I mean? Like
Just
people,
something.
there's always more to the story.
Yeah.
And yes, maybe he'll spend $10 of it on something, or $10 of it on food. It's not that it's none of my business, but it's, does God want me to judge this person, or does He want me to help this
Yeah.
person? Um, and that goes with the food. Like maybe this person, as somebody who's, yeah, had, I've drank a lot at times in my life, and smoked a lot of marijuana,
Yeah.
and I remember feeling like I would just forget to eat. You know what I mean? Because you're just so like, bro, like you're just out of it. And so I think that when you have an opportunity to just like feed somebody, it's almost better because this food might like nourish them and protect them from getting sick or something.
Yeah. Nourishment's always better. I say at least if you have food on you, give them food rather
Yep.
than money. But at the same time, if you don't and you can give them some money,
Mhm.
you just gotta hope that they use it for food. And
Yeah.
other than that, like you said, it's really none of my business.
Yeah, and
I
obviously I would love this person to become sober,
Yeah,
right? But
but it also, I don't know. A lot of them choose that. It gets them through their life, and if that's what they're choosing, in a
yeah,
sense, then
and that's also like we don't know what's happened behind the scenes. Like,
yeah,
was this person like, God forbid, molested or raped, or is she selling herself for like, is she gonna commit prostitution to afford the crack,
yeah,
right? And maybe get murdered by some guy, or are the people giving her quarters or loonies going to save her life? You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like you don't know.
You
Like
never know. Yeah,
a teacher in my I forget what it's called, interrogations, investigations, and interviews class. And so you're like learning how to talk to people, learning how to investigate crimes, learning how to take notes. So he's talking, and he's so candid. He's like, so obviously there's some cases he can't talk about. I think if they're still ongoing, or if there's like a threat, like if somebody found out about certain information, he won't tell it. I
mm,
think that's kind of, because sometimes he'll be like, I can't answer that, or so on. But he was talking about this guy who got murdered um, by two brothers. He goes to the scene. He shows up. He's the first officer on scene with his partner. They're homicide cops, and he shows up, right? And within like 20 minutes, this girl comes up to him, and he knows her name. Like, still to this day, this happened like 30 years ago, 25 years ago. Um, Knows her name, knew that she had a problem with crack, sold herself, right? But he said that she was a lovely girl. Yes, she was just like a good person. The way he talks so respectfully about her, like makes me like, reminds me that like there are really good police out there,
yeah,
And so uh he walks up to her. He's like, "Hey, Yolanda, uh, did you see anything or something like that?" And she's like, she gave him the full breakdown, snitched, and went to court, did everything, right? But so it shows that like these people who we have a negative opinion on um, are sometimes the people doing the hard thing and the right thing.
yeah. I say sometimes they're better than what we see as the regular person or whatnot, right? A lot of these people have gone through the hardships of life and they still choose to wake up every day, which is crazy to me. There was one guy that my dad encountered, and he was homeless only because he had no like documents, no proof of like his identity or his mom. Because his mom died, and like his dad, I don't think was ever in the picture, so he could never find any documents of his birth certificate, anything. And he's a homeless guy, so you can't just kind of walk into a courtroom and be like,
Fix my docs or
yeah,
whatever.
right? Because like in society's eyes, he's just some crazy guy
Yeah.
on the street, but he couldn't work because he had
Where are
no
they gonna send the money?
documentations
Yeah.
and he had nothing. And he wanted work. He kept asking people for work, but everyone kept turning him down because of that. So that's like, in a sense of, some of these people want to work and they can work, they just, like, they're not capable
Yeah.
because of the situation they're in.
And I would even say the breakdown is similar to what it is. Like there's good people, there's bad people,
Yep.
there's good homeless people, there's bad
Bad.
homeless people, obviously. Um, but I think that we have like the distribution skewed. We assume that 90% of regular people are great,
Yeah.
10% are bad. 90% of homeless people are bad, 10% are good. But it's probably the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, like, and they just need to be pulled out of that situation. So
Yeah. They are, yeah, think of society right there.
yeah, that's another thing. So like, I know that's such a broad subject. Society sucks sometimes. Like, I don't know. It just I feel like when I like look at the news, I can't believe people think like this way, or are this mad about things. Just like live your life mad.
But it's also like the news focuses on everything negative in the
Yes,
world.
I
They
think
don't put anything positive.
no, and that's the other thing. It's like sometimes you watch CP24 in the morning. Like the news channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I watch it, and they have like these like happy segments,
Mm.
but it's always like 30 seconds long.
Yeah.
It's like today it's Jimmy's birthday or whatever. He's turning 4, and then like next it's like criminal shot downtown Toronto. Like
Yeah.
it's like half fake. Right? I get the intentions there, but still.
Yeah. Like, realistically, we should be focusing on the positives of this world and everything good that's happening, but we don't. Like,
No.
and that's what kills society, I think, and kills everyone's hope and faith in humanity, is we only see the bad and we never see the good. And that's why I love those videos on like TikTok or YouTube of
Faith restored. I
like,
love that.
just, people doing good deeds, people showing the positive side of other people, right? Or, when like they have those like setups of people at restaurants or something and they're homeless or they have Tourette's or
Mm,
something. They're faking it to see
yeah,
what
yeah,
people would do. And there's the people that look at them weird, or like
yeah. And then there's one.
one person that stands up and goes over to them to help them,
Okay,
right?
I have a crazy story. So Abu Ghraib. It's like a prison in Iraq.
Okay.
Iran. I know it's in Iraq. And in like the early 2000s, just after 9/11, there was a bunch of prisoner abuse scandals, right, where they were like basically like it was bad. I don't even want to say because I think our video would get
Mm.
like I think
Yeah.
it, it, it's bad. All the bad stuff you can imagine,
It-
like torture,
yeah.
etc., was happening. They were taking pictures of it, right, like of them doing it, like, smiling next to the guys. It was brutal,
That's
right?
crazy. Yeah.
So we're learning about this in our ethics class. And one guy, one private,
Mm.
at the lowest rung, okay, snitched. He did the right thing, and he suffered a lot of consequences for snitching.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Like for 3 years, he had to hide, and he would receive death threats. But he did the right thing, right? So that's like one person out of let's say 100 that did the right thing, and like I want to be the one
The
person,
one
even
person.
if it sucks.
Yeah. Usually it does suck.
Yeah,
Um, in my eyes, like, as much as this is like wrong but true, is like the devil rules the world, then like, so when you do the right thing, the world will like turn on you,
yeah,
but God is there to protect you and see you through it.
yeah. And I even feel I was talking about in a video that I was making. Um, haven't released yet, but soon. Um, was like we do these things to like stay connected to the world, right? Like instead of just living in a hole, like in a cave, right? Like we do these things to like stay a little bit connected to the world.
Yeah,
And some of those things you have to do if you want, you can't live in a cave with your family, and provide for them unless you're like hunting, which hey, it's
yeah, it's
possible. But
possible.
you know
It's
what I mean? Like
possible.
we do these little things, or well, I've actually stopped over the last 2 years. Like when when people, so I was sitting at a table at school, people started swearing, they started talking poorly. Um, I left. I literally stood up and left.
Yeah.
Right? You have to have the confidence to be like, I don't care what they think.
Yeah.
Right? Like I care what God thinks,
Mm.
and have the confidence to be like, I don't want to be a part of this world. I don't want to connect myself to all these evil things. I want to be above that. Like elevated beyond like the worldly desires. Right? I don't think wealth is. I think it's good to be wealthy in the sense that you have like family, friends,
Yes.
children, understanding, wisdom, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be wealthy in the world, you
No.
know?
Yeah.
It seems like HE double hockey sticks. It seems terrible.
Some could say it might be,
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'd much rather be wealthy in the sense of like my mood is joyful. I got a family that surrounds me. I got food for the next day, right? Just enough to get me through each and every day instead of like money loaded by myself in the mansion with 100 women that don't care about me and
And they
only
would
want
kill you in a heartbeat.
my money, right? So it's just like I'd much rather be wealthy in the sense of
That's the thing is like when I look like, and maybe this is controversial, but I think there is like a divide amongst people. Like, doesn't mean that they can't change, but they're like evil people are evil.
yeah,
And I think that right now in the world, like we're trying to say like evil's okay, right? Like evil's good in this amount, or it's okay when it's exhibited in this way. It's okay to be. So, an example would be it's okay to be promiscuous. It's okay to be lustful. It's okay um, if you're a alpha male or a I
mm,
don't know what the female version of that would be. You know what I mean? Like that's okay, even though it's evil, because you're you're this, right?
yeah,
It's almost like people select like a character. They're like, I'm gonna play this person for the rest of my life. That seems awful.
yeah,
And it happens with like when something becomes popular,
mm,
all of a sudden everybody starts saying like, "Oh, I love this," right? You can even see it happening with uh, like football. I'm not sure if that have you noticed that? I
like
noticed that.
no,
Oh my goodness! I know people are interested in football,
yeah,
but like after the Travis Kelsey thing,
oh,
like like what's her name? The
the Taylor
Taylor Swift.
Swift, yeah, Taylor Swift
Um,
and Chauvin,
I know that like maybe they're genuinely interested in football now, but to be pulled by the world and not your own interests and your
yeah,
own thoughts, it seems dangerous to me. And have these idols, right? Like to like worship
yeah,
like celebrity and fame and all these things. And maybe that's a poor example, um, just because it's like what I've noticed, and maybe it's just of my own bias, right?
yeah,
Because I hate football, but you know what I mean. Like it's like there are these trends. That's the best way to do
yeah,
it,
the trend,
right? TikTok was a trend. Uh, Even Twitter, Facebook, all that. Like
yeah,
people begin to like their identity becomes that thing.
yeah, and you could argue like some people need that kind of push to try something new,
Right? Mm-hmm.
but some people get sucked into it and say, even if I don't like it, because this person likes
Exactly.
it,
Yeah.
then I love it. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I mean. I don't
yeah,
mean that you can't like football. There's
yeah,
probably I don't actually know, maybe 500 million people on this earth who really like football,
yeah,
but maybe there's 500 million who don't. You
yeah,
know, and I think that we need to get comfortable just saying like, I like this, I don't.
I don't, yeah.
Right? Like,
Be true to yourself.
and not be fake.
Yeah.
Being fake is just so
It,
tiresome.
yeah, it takes a toll on you at the end of the day,
Because
like a
it's like
big
a
toll.
form of lying.
Big, I mean,
It is lying.
it's lying.
But it's not like me saying like I'm 6'7".
Yeah,
Like, that's a lie.
well, that's like that's
That's
a
a
clear
crazy
lie.
lie.
Yeah,
um,
moving on.
but
There you go.
but it's like lying through omission, like to not be truthful with people about what you actually like. Like I would never say to somebody, "Oh, I like soccer, football."
Yeah,
Can't watch those things. They just drive me nuts.
and that's yeah. I literally tell everyone that. They're like, "Oh, what sport you watch? What sports you play?" I'm just like,
Nothing.
I don't watch anything.
I
I'm
can't stand watching sports.
yeah.
I'm trying to think of a sport I like. Maybe baseball I would watch in person,
Yeah.
or hockey in person.
Hockey is intense in person. It's a
Mhm.
lot of fun. I'd say in person with people,
It's a whole different thing.
whole different thing. But if I'm just sitting here, I would never turn on the TV to watch a football game or a soccer game. But if I'm with my older brother and he's watching soccer,
You'd watch.
I'd watch it.
Yeah, but that's
Just
like a family activity
yeah,
almost. Yeah.
just to be with him kind of thing. But I don't love it, right?
No,
But sometimes you gotta sacrifice for the family.
of course. And that's the other thing. If I have a wife and she says I'm interested in, uh, we'll go back to football.
Football, yeah,
I'm
I was gonna
interested
say.
in football, or I'm interested in mixed martial
Mm.
arts.
I feel like you'd be interested in mixed martial arts.
Kind of, but I don't like. I feel like it's a blood sport
Mm.
a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it's
That's
almost like
fair.
modern day gladiatorial,
It is,
and I
yeah.
think that like gladiatorial sports are like antithetical to what I believe. You know what I
That's
mean? Like I
valid.
don't think if your body's a temple,
Yeah.
right, you shouldn't be destroying it for somebody else, right?
Mm.
Like for money,
Yeah.
for fame. Like it seems wrong. And I get like it's an art, right? Like mixed martial arts,
Yeah.
but in the same way, um, certain movies I would disagree with. You know, that they're art, but I still think they're bad.
Mm.
But anyway, I would love to like learn how to fight,
Yeah.
but I don't want to hurt anything.
No.
You know what I mean? So, back to my thought. It's like I would obviously take an interest in what that person is interested in because they're my wife. You
Well,
know,
yeah.
like I don't want to be a complete like that's dumb.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, if that's your wifey, then that's your wifey, and she's gonna take interest in what she may not like, but you like, and
Mhm.
vice versa. And if you don't, then do you really like love that person? Because love without sacrifice, you could argue, isn't really love.
Agreed. Well, exactly. If you will the good of the other, like love is to want good for other people,
Yeah.
right? It's not a feeling. I do believe that like you have to step out of your boundaries a little bit and do things you might not want to do
Yeah.
because ultimately then you're not loving that person. You know, like as long as it's good for them. Obviously, if you started doing Anavar,
Mm.
you know, or like some steroid, and it's killing your heart, I would ensure that you didn't do it.
You wouldn't hop on with me?
Bro, I'm getting huge. I'm actually gonna get huge. I
Yeah.
was at the gym yesterday.
Yeah.
I never do to anybody who's listening, or watching. I never work out like arms. I only do legs for and like abs for running. Right? Oh my goodness, I was going crazy at the gym, and like all these. 'Cause I go to school gym, so everyone's like flexing in the mirror and like touching their stomachs and like like rizzing themselves. I guess is the
Mm.
proper modern term.
The Riz.
Yeah, they're like
The modern Riz.
the modern Riz, and they're just like it's such a bad environment to work out in. But I'm just there, just like doing like random movements I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
and after I feel great, my arms hurt.
Yeah.
It's nice to be sore. So
Pumped up, juiced up.
pumped up,
For
yell at
the
somebody about something, just doing abs after for like I did like 30 minutes of arms, 30 minutes of abs.
yeah.
That's the workout. That's all you need.
That's all you need in life.
Just
Right?
tiny legs, because I already have small legs. They're very like vascular, I
Yeah.
guess.
They're very running legs.
Running
That's
legs,
yeah.
and I have a running like torso,
Yeah.
but then my arms are like they're
Juiced.
massive.
You'd be
So,
walking around like SpongeBob when he had the blow up arms.
yeah, literally. So,
uh,
anyway, me and Angel had an argument. What was that? When we were debating, I was sitting there
uh,
last
last
weekend,
week,
Monday.
I thought it was
It was a
Wednesday.
day, within the last month, and basically, Angela said, and I did listen, so this is why I can reproduce the point. It's like if you always think what you believe to be true, a form of arrogance because then you're never truly open-minded to believing something new. And then you can never develop your views if you always think you're right. And I would say that's like, we came to a very appropriate conclusion, and I wish we did on here. But I would agree with that, but I would disagree that some things you must know to be true to believe more things, like to be able to understand and progress your thoughts. Furthermore, I had an experience with somebody who was I wish I remember, I think he's Pentecostal. Yeah, he is Pentecostal. Um, I I was standing in the doorway of the school, and this guy, never met this guy in my life. He said, "In the name of Jesus Christ, I hope you're healed," or something like that. And I thought he knew me because I was like, "Who speaks to me like that?" Like only people who would like really really know me would say anything even sort of like that. And I turn around, I'm like looking at him like this, like, trying to like remember his face. And I was like, "What's your name?" And like I shook his hand. He's like, "I'm David." Um, and we talked, and I said, "You believe?" And we had a conversation, very short conversation. Um, but he invited me to his church, and so I'm gonna go. I actually want you to come.
I would love
You
to.
would come?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like a 2 hour service,
Yeah.
but it's like singing and preaching, and it's kind of got that sort of like vibe to it where they don't do, at least to my understanding, they don't do Eucharist, obviously, and we want to like they don't have the like sacrament, and even if they did, they wouldn't believe in like the true presence, right? Like that Jesus exists within the Eucharist.
Yeah.
But that didn't really matter to me because I was like, might as well. You know what I mean? Like I'm fervent in my faith, and I believe that I am like correct, or else I wouldn't believe the thing that I do. But how am I gonna say no to David? The guy is in for the first moment. I might make a video about this. I was like, this guy's more fervent than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, I thought I was like maxed out, but I realized I'm still living in the fear of, am I being judged when I say stuff like that? And yes, sometimes I say like, God willing, and I say God forbid, and I proclaim Jesus to people, but never in my life have I walked up to a random person, even though I want to, and say, "In the name of Jesus Christ," I was blown away. So, and just that, like, if he came up to me, he's like, "Do you want to come to my church?" I'd say, "Yeah, maybe." But just having that experience, buddy, I'm going.
Yeah. Got it now.
I know.
You got it. Yeah.
So
I feel like it's kind of like Christian churches, like they get like more lively in their
non-denominational style, like
singing,
praise.
dancing. A lot of them get up and like they're like, "Hallelujah, praise the Lord," like mid-service kind of thing, and it like boosts your spirit, in my
Absolutely.
opinion.
But also, so me and Angel go to a Catholic church, um, but even in the Catholic faith, if you go to Jamaica, the islands, um, like anywhere in the Caribbean or South America, and in the Philippines, their services are lively. They have people putting their hands up and not being afraid of being open about their faith.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what's happened here is like people have now seen like, or at least they think that it's not okay to be religious. Like, I don't care. Like, if even if the person, okay, let's give a different example. If someone's a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Muslim, and they go to their church and praise and do their thing, and they're lively, like, I don't, I feel like I'm not going to judge them. So I don't, or if somebody says, I forget the saying. Anyway, but like if somebody says something and it's like if instead of saying like praise God, like praise Allah or whatever. I know that they're one and the same, but the meaning, at least, God means Allah, and Allah means God. But it still is like, I'm not gonna say that's weird. Right? I'm just gonna be like, wait, they're fervent.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I'm so like nervous about seeming like even more intense than I am.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm more worried about coming across too religious, right? Too faithful, too spiritual, too, when I should rather be like, who cares?
Just be you at the end
Just
of
be
the day.
you.
Yeah.
Because So I'm holding myself back.
Yeah. If you're not you, then there's something wrong. But
David was himself. That's all I
yeah,
can say. That guy is.
I also see it as like, at least here, the Catholic Church is not even being themselves in the sense of they're trying to make all the churches look very modern and fit in with everything around them, which it's kind of supposed to
Cold.
be the opposite.
Literally.
We're making these buildings for God.
If God exists in here, as he exists everywhere else, but
Yeah.
he's truly present when um when the transubstantiation occurs, right? Like like why not just have a crate in the okay, if you're gonna spend I forget how much the church near us costs when they built there's an older church near us and a newer church and an even older one down Church Street. Uh, uh the like they must cost like $5 million to make, right? Like a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? Why not spend six, like, and make it nice?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't
No,
want my church to seem like every other building,
just a
and
concrete building.
concrete, like literally polished concrete floors,
Yeah.
cold views, cold vibe, cold everything. The band is hidden. You know the one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's so cold in there. It's so almost like hollow.
Yeah. It's like they're hiding.
It's like they're hiding, and I understand that maybe it's because the Catholic Church people are worried they're spending too much money, or but
Yeah.
like, why should you care, right? Like
Exactly.
that goes against everything that God is.
Everything.
Like we're not supposed to be like the world, but we're supposed to go into a building that feels like a dirty shopping mall
Yeah.
and praise, right? How are we gonna do that? When I go to when I went to Italy, oh my, literally I got shivers
It's
when I go into some of the churches. Like I would be
they
like it
spent
was unreal.
years, like hand carved everything,
Two
years.
hundred, 200 years in some
Yeah,
cases, 300 years.
exactly.
The Duomo, or it was either, yeah, I think it was the Duomo, which took like 600 years to make.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like
Yeah,
that's what it's supposed to be, though. Like
like
your blood, sweat, and tears, your love, your everything.
of God, not just like, here, put up a brick wall and like, put some water in there. And
Yeah,
like, I don't want that. I
no,
want to go somewhere where I feel holy, right? And I know it's not about the feeling, and I know that God is present and Christ is present and all that. But the institution of the Catholic Church has the ability to say, well, what if we spend just a little bit more money and make this seem like we care?
yeah. Because it honestly, for me, going in there, it seems like they care
Which
more
one?
about
The new one?
like
Both?
any
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
realistically, like any church you go in, and it just seems like they care more about what the world thinks rather than what God
Hmm.
thinks.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me because that's not what we're supposed to be preaching. We're supposed to be preaching like who cares about what the world's thinking.
And even 100 years ago, though, like you go to Toronto
Yeah,
and you go to St. Michael's or St. Mary's, right? I guess they're 100, like, no, I think about 100 years old each. Um, they're beautiful.
yeah,
They're like amazing. They're stained glass windows. The just the classiness of it. And I think people have just because when I go to that church near us, it's grim,
grim,
guys, and
very,
it just takes away the fact that like humans are very emotional, feeling based creatures, right?
very much so.
I don't feel like holy when I enter.
Yeah.
I feel
Oh,
like this.
Sunday
Here's
mass
another
again.
mass.
Yeah,
Like the mass is supposed to be special. It's not just supposed to be like,
it's another mass.
yeah, like it's supposed to be. This is it. Like this is I'm about to receive Jesus.
Yeah,
But instead, it's like I'm about to like sit here and like listen. Like
it's very
maybe that's
unengaging.
immature though. Maybe I don't get the whole point.
Like I guess you could make that argument.
Yeah.
That yeah, you could say that, but it's also I don't know unengaging. Like I'll go to some Christian masses and they're a lot more engaging just with everything, with God, with the crowd, and
Hmm.
they make sure everyone's actually like kind of praising in a sense.
Hmm.
Whether it's like
And
some Christian, you go to like a Catholic mass, and some
But there's
people,
also the idea of obligation.
yeah,
So I think that I watched a video recently called "Are You a True Christian?" Um, displayed as a video game or something. I forget exactly, but it was interesting. But the idea is, I feel like a lot of people when they go to Catholic church, it's because
have,
they have to,
yeah,
right? Like, if for people that don't know, there's this thing called like Sunday obligation, right? There's days of obligation, so specific holy days that you have to go to church, or else it's considered sin. Just like if you're Muslim, you have to go to Friday prayer, um, or else it would be considered a sin. You have to pray with everybody at I think 11 a.m. if I'm remembering correctly, on for Muslims. So it's the same idea, but for us, it's every Sunday and holy days and some versions of Catholicism, like I think it's Ukrainian Orthodox, you have to fast certain days. So there's these rules. The issue with that is it's amazing. It's an amazing idea. Like, it's a motivator if you believe. But if you don't believe and you always show, it's almost like showing up to work. Like, are you ever going to have a different opinion on work if you
yeah,
have, like, with the Christian churches, the reason, like, Christianity, like, Catholicism is a denomination of Christianity, but let's say non-denominational Christian churches, the reason that they're so exciting and fun and unique is because the people there are showing up because they want to be there,
yeah,
right? They don't want to be seen by others and say, okay, well, I did my obligation.
yeah.
Look at me now. Instead, what's happening is people show up to Catholic Mass. And they're like, let's get it done. Let's get this thing in the bag.
Sit here for an hour, and then that's it.
Boom.
That's my obligation done.
Yep. Jesus satisfied, right? Like, that's not how it works. Like, I even if I went to, and there was a few weeks where I went to Mass every day because I wanted to, right? And then there were weeks where I was kind of like doing like a devotional thing where I'm like gonna go to Mass every day. But then you have like Thursday and you don't want to go, but you feel like you have to go, so you drudge yourself there, and then you're like, even though Mass was great, you still think, like, while you're in the parking lot, like, "Ah." Then you go in, you have a good time. But it's that idea of like, oh, I have to be here, right?
Yeah,
It takes away from it. I would rather sit at home, pray, think, and actually get closer to God rather than be like, I'm checking a box on a form, you know?
yeah, yeah. And I think that's kind of what drives people away from the church
It's one
is,
of many things.
yeah, well, but that is like, I think a big thing of like people like, oh, if I don't go to church Sunday, now God hates me and he's not gonna be in my life. It's like, no, like I don't. At least I don't believe that to be true at all. Like if
I don't think anybody, like, if you really think about it,
yeah,
like, I don't think that's how it works,
no,
you know?
yeah,
Because obviously I believe, like, I'm very, like, fervently a Catholic in the sense that out of all the denominations, when I became Christian, it was the one that was the most, like, intellectually, like, congruent for me. Like, I didn't find any like blaring like things um in it that made me, question it, right? And I'll give an example of what I mean. Um, for the reason I never wasn't like didn't become a Protestant was because the idea of like sola fide and sola scriptura, like, that always seemed incongruent with my beliefs, right? That I don't think it's faith alone, and I certainly don't believe that it's scripture alone, because who put together the Bible? That was like always my like thing that made me question. And maybe one day, uh, somebody will satisfy that answer for me. But I'm fervently a Catholic. But there are things in the Catholic faith that, and of course, this is where faith comes in. You just have to say, I don't understand it now, but maybe one day I will. But like, if I want people to become Catholic, and you tell them that if you miss a Sunday, it's a sin and you're gonna have to repent. And same thing with confession. If you tell people like your soul is only remedied through confession, they're always very confused. Of course. Um, but that being said, I don't think that if we have an all loving, all merciful, all perfect God, that if you miss a Sunday, that God is like, what happens if you don't know it? And I know that there's arrogance and like that you can be ignorant of a sin and it not be a sin, et cetera, et cetera. But I just don't think that your soul is in danger if you miss a Sunday.
Yeah. To me, that's kind of crazy in a sense, but it's like not like I can understand it,
You know?
but at the same time, I don't think God, if if you say God is all loving, all merciful, and then you say like you can't get to heaven because you missed a Sunday kind of thing, to me that's kind of crazy.
But we don't know what happens at judgment. Like
Yeah.
whenever I imagine it, and I do imagine it, I always imagine so you die and then your soul. Like I don't really imagine the big lineup, right? Like I don't
Mm,
think God needs a line. I think you just like get like pulled into like some almost like a spirit realm,
mm,
and then the God's there, like basically gonna give you an interview, right? And like, which sounds so weird, but that's how I imagine it.
yeah.
I, I think on my list, like if God's really, I don't even think that the Sundays will make the list
Mm,
because I seldom miss Sundays. I don't remember the last time I missed a Sunday. Um, but I have missed Sundays in my life, and for like 3 years I missed Sundays, like when I was like younger. I don't think those are gonna make the list of things that I got to. Like I might have to repent for them, and maybe I'll spend time in purgatory for them. But I don't think that's gonna endanger my soul. You know, like truly endanger it. I know it technically endangers it.
yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway,
Very small thing compared to
exactly.
the major things of life.
Yeah, like like if you lied to your mother a million times, which I did. Sorry, sorry, mom. I actually am very sorry for that. I don't think that like, I would say like lying to your mom is almost worse than Sunday. You know, and I know we
Yeah.
can't like weigh the sins and
That's,
et cetera, but just as an idea. Yeah. You have anything else?
um nothing that's coming to mind
Nor I.
here. Yeah. But,
Sorry for talking so much that time. I was just
yeah.
filled with the zest.
Yeah.
So, guys, that is going to be the end of our fourth episode. Soon, five will be coming out.
Yeah.
Um, we would love to hear from you guys, um, and I am very excited for the next one.
Yeah. Remember, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we'd love to hear all of your comments. Comment about your week, your day, um,
Questions,
questions, comments, even things we can do better,
concerns,
concerns.
concerns.
Um, we want to take any negative or positive comment. We won't turn any away.
Nope. And then uh, I guess to add on to that, if because I was thinking I don't always want to be like talking about us, and so
Yes.
like if you're watching this and you have a an idea or what you would like to hear from us,
Yes.
like oh like I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about you guys talk about this. I think that's kind of in line with the plan for this channel.
Yes. Very much so. I'd say please comment down below.
Yep.
Any ideas, like you're saying, or even if you have like some story or something that you're okay to share, and we can share it and then kind of talk about it or share
How
our
it
ideas
relates to
about it. Yeah.
us. Yeah. Because I was
Just
thinking about that for my channel.
yeah.
Is I was literally like I spoke about myself for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to talk about myself again. So you get kind of like I did the intro video and I was like, I'm kind of talking about this,
Yeah.
right? Like about me.
Yeah.
And so I would rather have the opportunity to like if we're gonna be friends, like we have to talk about
Each
it
other.
to be like a three-way conversation here.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah. So remember to comment if you made it this far. Please hit that subscribe, even a like. Um, but yeah, thank you for watching.
and God bless. Bye bye guys.